I need to tell you something. And he was like, what? I said, I am actually 6 feet tall, so I'm taller than you. Of course, I am not 6 feet tall.
I was about to believe that. I was like, oh, wow, okay. Hello, and welcome to Situaseans podcast. I'm your host, Sean Michael Williams, aka seanydoo. You can call me Sean, Shawnee, seanydoo. Does not matter to me. I'm just glad that y'all are here. Thank you so much for tuning in to Situaseans podcast. Like, legitimately, it means the world having you all here. Having you all share the podcast with your friends, your families, your coworkers, that person down the street, that one person that you're not sure if you're friends with anymore, but you're like, you know what? This person needs to learn how to grow and develop within themselves. So I'm going to send them this podcast. So send them this podcast, because whenever you send this podcast and share it, it literally is a drop of love on my heart. Like, legit, drip, drip, drip. Submit. You all know the drill. So yes, submit your stories, your questions, your dating stories, your icks, anything at all that you're going through in the dating environment. Submit it to Situaseans podcast, because we unpack it here on the show. We all go through stuff, but this platform is an open platform for us all to be vulnerable and share those stories, and like in dating, life in general, anything that we're going through. So yes, submit it to situationspodcast.com/submit. And yeah, and some of you, if you're new here to the show, if you don't know how to, spell situations, it's Situaseans. But if I figured you probably wouldn't know how to spell it, because, you got here, right? You found the episode. So yes, definitely continue sharing this with your friends and like family, anybody out there. So I really appreciate it. So yes, Situaseans podcast is about dating, relationships, mental and emotional life experiences. Ooh-wee. So yes, we are going to be talking about so much on the show. So we're going to be talking about key values to building a relationship and finding like that special somebody. And I have a very special guest on this episode. But before I reveal my special guest, I just want to remind you all that, yes, we all go through things. We all are trying to be the best version of ourselves. And that's kind of what, I was unpacking all of this with my guests on the show, because we're talking about dating and we're talking about relationships. We're talking about, what is it that we want, whenever we're out here, presenting ourselves on dates and stuff like that. So yes, we all are going through stuff, whether you're in a relationship or you're dating, you're trying to build those foundations. It's important to have those clear lines of communications with the people that you're sitting across the table from on that date, or the person that, you're seeing, the person that you're married to. So it's all important. And and we also have a listener submission about an ick dilemma, someone drunk calling. So yeah, you all are in for a very special ride for this episode, because it's so fun. And honestly, this was just such a wholesome conversation. And I'm just so excited for you all to meet my very special guest. She's going to give us a little bit of a peek behind the curtain, because, she's going to be talking a little bit about her experience in the pods, because not her storyline wasn't necessarily, covered like throughout the show. So, you all are going to be able to really, really get a good insight on, the Love is Blind experience from someone who's been through it. So yes, I want you all to give a very, very, very special warm welcome to my guest, Estefania Garcia.
Hi, Hi, everybody. Good to be here.
So grateful to have you here. First and foremost, thank you so much for being here and just like helping me unpack all the things about dating and kind of letting us a little bit behind the curtain to the Love Is Blind world.
I'm excited.
Kind of just jumping off from like the top. I kind of just want to talk about learn get the audience to learn more about you and who you are and where you are in your current dating life situation. So what's going on? Are you single, dating? Like, can you share with us? Tell us all about it.
So right now I've been single for a while. It's been 2.5 years. I've been using the dating apps on and off. Clearly it hasn't worked. Um, but I feel like now, I guess in this time of life, people are using the dating app so much more or relying on the dating app so much more that I feel like it's just so much harder to meet someone just organically,
Yeah.
which sucks. But then I have to use them too.
Right, right, absolutely. No, I definitely feel you there. I'm currently single as well. I'm like on the dating apps as well. I'm on Hinge and Coffee Meets Bagel and Bumble, but like it's dating is definitely interesting. And you are currently in Texas, right?
Yes, Houston, Texas.
All right, Houston. So what is it like dating in Houston? Is it true that like some of the bars are kind of just like everyone just runs into each other all the time?
It is very true. Even though Houston is very big, the dating scene is kind of small. There's not a lot of options, I am not gonna lie. And and it's not very good options either. The good ones are taken or yeah.
I feel that. I get you. And like dating in Chicago is a little weird as well. Like everyone, even though it's a big city, everyone kind of like knows each other. Sometimes you'll run into like the same people at the bars or stuff like that. But it's interesting though because like I feel like especially during the winter, and maybe somebody might feel differently, but I feel like in the winter, that's when like everyone is like on a dating scene. Like I need that snuggle buddy that, what is it like with somebody during the holiday seasons because of the holidays.
Yeah,
So
everybody gets a little desperate.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, but yeah, it's definitely interesting dating in Chicago. So I've been single for about like a little over a year now, and yeah, last relationship was it was from 2020 to 2021, and then we gave it a second go, and we just didn't work out because we were just arguing a lot. But at the end of the day, I guess kind of what I took from that experience is just to not ignore red flags. Like if you're feeling something, it's okay to feel and emote. And the thing is, I had so much like we both come from traumatic, I guess like childhoods, but I had so many positive outlets to process that, and she didn't. And so it was just kind of like just arguing all the time. But at the end of the day, I'm putting like my best foot forward out here on date, like dating, and I definitely want to eventually be in a relationship, but I definitely understand kind of like what you were saying. Like, yeah, dating is hard, and it's like the options. It's like trying to figure out like, yeah, who do I connect the most with? Prior to joining season 5 of Love Is Blind, so you were a teacher and then you danced professionally. So tell me more about that.
So I used to be a high school teacher right before I joined Love Is Blind. Um, I actually had to quit my job to go on Love Is Blind.
Oh, what?
So yeah, I asked for some days off to go on the show, and my boss at the time, well, I had two bosses. One of them was like not the top boss, so I went directly to the top boss, and he was like, no, you can't take any days off. As a teacher, you only get sick days. So
What?
he was
Wow.
like, you're not sick. And if you call in saying that you're sick, I'm going to fire you, because now I would know that it's a lie. And I was like, you know what? Well, I don't think I should be working for someone who doesn't appreciate me at all. Because I went to him, asking him, saying the truth, and I had everything ready for my students. And he didn't want to give me any days, so I had to quit. Literally a few days before I left to go on the show, I put my keys on my desk right after I had talked to him, and sad. I was very sad. I left, and I wrote an email to my students saying that I wasn't going to come back, but I was also doing what was best for me and doing something that I wanted to try out and doing something that I wanted to do for myself. So I'm happy I did that.
Yeah, that's like I'm glad that you advocated for yourself. I'm so sorry that like that your former school didn't like let you go off to do the show. But I'm glad that you were able to kind of give your students like, hey, it was such a good time being your teacher. So it's good that you were able to kind of leave your students with something. I'm sure they miss you so much.
Yeah, they do. I miss them too.
Wow. And then as far as like dancing, so you are a dancer. I've seen some of like the videos, like the reels on your Instagram. I'm like, okay, go all the way the fuck off. Tell me about that. How did you get into that?
It was so random, actually. Like a few years ago, a friend and we were looking for something to do, and we found dance classes. We both joined, and I continued doing it, and she actually moved away to another city, so I kept doing it more and more and got really invested into it. So then I started teaching and like performing and like taking classes and going all over the world and dancing. So it's my way of connecting with people also when I can't speak a language, in like they're a common language. So I love it. I still love it. It's my passion, my biggest passion.
Yeah. And I feel like maybe, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like dance is definitely like a universal language, right? Like
It is.
and that's just so amazing. And speaking of languages, so yeah, like what languages do you speak? Tell me all about that.
So Spanish is my first language. I also studied Spanish. So I was a Spanish teacher when I was a teacher. So I'm very passionate about teaching, as you can see.
Yeah.
I love teaching. I also coach tennis, by the way. So that's another thing I do. Now that I don't teach at the high school, I teach dance and I coach tennis. So yeah, Spanish is my first language, and it's my native language. Still speak it, and sometimes I'm not very good at speaking English. I don't know what happens. Sometimes it's just not my day. But yeah, so I speak Spanish and English, but I would love to learn other languages. It's another one of my goals.
Absolutely. That's amazing. Yeah. I only speak two languages as well. Well, I guess one other language besides English. I speak Spanish, pero entiendo más que habla.
¡Ay, qué bien!
Me aprendo de español de la familia de mi amigo.
Wow.
So yeah, like growing up with them, and my best friend Pedro, like he's half Puerto Rican, half Mexican. And so like just growing up, his family was like, well, if you want to come around us and if you want to eat with us, you have to speak the language.
Exactly. I like them already.
Right. Yeah. So I definitely grew to appreciate it so very much. And yeah, and it's like I wish I got to use Spanish and speak Spanish as much as I did like growing up. I feel like around college is kind of like when I stopped speaking it, I guess on a constant basis. But yeah, so at one point, like, yeah, I feel like now I'm probably about maybe 75% fluent. So it's like Spanglish.
Yeah, cool.
But like, yeah.
If you lived in Texas, it would be easier for you to practice.
Yes. Tell me, what was it like being on Love is Blind season 5?
So being on Love is Blind season 5 was definitely something I've never experienced anything close to that, right? Like it's an experiment and it feels like an experiment since you get there. They take your phone away, there's no TVs, there's no music, there's no connection to the outside world at all. Um, it's part of the experiment, right? And we all decided to go on it and we kind of knew what was gonna happen. Um, but at the same time, in my opinion, like it made me feel like when you're a kid again, right? Like how you make connections with everybody. It's so much easier to make a connection. It's so much easier to communicate. It's so much easier to have a feeling about something because there's no distractions and you're not in control of anything actually. So it puts you in that situation of I am in control of my feelings and who I'm talking to, but my surrounding is not controlled by me. So I don't know. In a way, like it made us all feel, or I thought it made us all feel like children in a way. Like we were connecting with each other so much. We became friends with the girls. Like all the girls became friends with each other. We were dancing. We were playing games. We were laughing, crying together, singing, saying poetry. All these things, like showing our talents in a way, like, and all of us were appreciating that. It was very, very beautiful. Also, when we got to actually date the guys, it was really nice connecting with them too. I don't know. For me, it was actually pretty easy making connections with everybody. By the way, I don't drink, so I don't think
Oh,
anybody knew that. But like, being on Love is Blind and not drinking, I think it's a very different experience because most people were drinking. Drinks are there all the time and you have access to them since the morning, right? And for me to not drink, I feel like I was very aware of what was happening, which I always am, by the way. So everything I do and everything I say, it's from myself, not from a drink, which can be good and bad at the same time, right? I never have that excuse of, oh, I was so drunk.
yeah,
Never.
right. Speaking of drinks, what is it with those gold like wine glasses that are everywhere?
Those gold cups. We even like if you don't drink, you have to pour your drink in there so they don't know what you're drinking. So
Ah,
it's just part of like not advertising other like brands and stuff, just like any other TV
yeah,
show does, like
yeah.
they decided to go for the gold cups, which I kind of love though. Kind of tacky, but trying to be fancy, so I liked it.
That's amazing. Did you ever get to like take one home, even though you don't drink? You could still have like a mocktail.
I wish I did. Like some people like took some of them without asking, like they stole them.
Situations podcast exclusive. No.
So they would put us in a pod, and of course you could have like your stuff and whatever. And some people like were like, "Oh my god, I took a gold cup," and I'm like, I took snacks instead of taking gold cup. But yeah, next time.
Right. Yeah, and so like as far as like the process on getting cast, and I've heard from other contestants that some of the producers like they'll like either reach out via DMs, or some people in the past have like found like submit like I guess like online castings. So what was it like for you? Like how did Love is Blind come to you?
It was as most people actually. Somebody messaged me on Instagram, and in the beginning I thought it was a scam because it's like the questions were like, "Have you ever watched Love is Blind?" And I was like, "Yes." Are you single? And I was like, "Yes." Would you be interested in being part of it? And I said, "Yes." So I responded, of course, because I was like, what if this is true, right?
Yeah.
Then I did my little research on the producer's page, and then I saw that his name was actually on the credits of the show, and I was like, well, sounds like it's true. So I had the interviews and everything. It's a long process of interviews and tests and all these things. I did them all, and I made it.
All right. That's amazing. And like how many dates did you go on like in the pods? Because unfortunately, you know how like I guess the way the show is edited, sometimes they don't really cover everyone's, like dates. And like, yeah, I want to see more of your dates because as soon as I saw you on screen, I was like, oh wow, like she's amazing. like I want to see more of her. So like yeah, like how many dates did you go on?
I actually was there until reveal day.
Wow.
So I went on lots and lots and lots of dates. uh, yeah, most people don't know this, but I was actually engaged too.
What? Wow. Another Situations podcast exclusive. No.
I have the ring here. I'll show you.
Yes, please do. We would love to see that. Wow. If you all are watching on YouTube, you can see this amazing ring. And if you're listening on to this podcast, it is so beautiful. Like, wow. Wow, the size
It
of
is
that
very
rock.
beautiful.
How does your hand not like, just like fall to the ground? It's so heavy. Like
I don't wear it because I am not engaged
I know,
anymore.
right? That's so
Okay.
cool that's so cool that they, that you get to keep it. Are you able to tell us like, who you were engaged to or?
Yeah. So the whole process, as everybody, like I was there since the beginning. As I said, I made really good connections with some people. Like, it was kind of it's very difficult to decide who you're going to marry in 10 days, right? Like if you're actually looking at this from the outside world, it's difficult. And as I said, you can make a connection with people, and it's so easy to make connections. It doesn't mean that they're like husband or wife material connections, So I was having a difficult time deciding if it was the real thing or not, right? But also there's a time limit, and there's this pressure of you go in there trying to find a husband or a wife. And I went in there for that. Like, I was taking in the process very seriously. I was asking all the right questions. I was making all the connections. I was doing all these things to find my husband. And I had two very strong connections that lasted until day 8, which is the day before proposals. Everybody had already decided on who they wanted to marry.
Ah.
And I had not. And everybody was like, yeah, I love him. He's my guy, and I'm going to marry him, and I'm so sure, and blah, blah, blah. And I am an overthinker. I am a romantic, but I also am an overthinker. And I was thinking, like, how does everybody know and not me? Like, what's wrong with me? How am I, like, if this was the real thing, like I would know, right? But also you're in such a different situation. You can't see the person. So I had these two guys that I was in between, and they were very, very different, very opposite. Like, and I had no idea what they looked like, but I knew how I felt with each one of them, right? So one of them was Jared. He is barely shown also, just like me. Jared, he's very like enthusiastic and happy, and he was like writing me poems and like very happy every time I talked to him. Then there was another guy, and he was Chris.
Yeah. Oh wow, Chris. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, Chris. Chris, on the opposite hand, he's very calm, very relaxed.
Yeah.
Not a lot of energy, but he gave me that peace, like that calmness, that, I don't know, like reassurance. So they were completely opposite. And everybody had decided on their people, right? Um, Johnny had just broken up with Chris.
Yeah,
So
that's right.
Chris only had me as their connection. That's why he was still on the show, and people don't know this actually. And Jared was there too, and he only had me as his connection, and I had two people that I could decide on. If you watch other seasons, sometimes they show that when people have two people. I was too nervous. I was like, oh my God, I can't decide. How do I know? But there was one thing that happened that made me decide for the person I decided. So the day that Johnny broke up with Chris, she had no more connections. So that meant that it was over for her, right? She was there the next day, still like waiting for a date or something. And I was surprised.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
I saw, I was supposed to have a date with Chris, and they were delaying my date. And you have like a time that you're supposed to go on the date for. And I was like, oh, it's my time. And they were like, no, 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 wait. And I was like, oh, okay. So I was waiting, wondering what was happening. I see Johnny coming in into the lounge, and then I go out and I go and talk to Chris. And I asked him, hey, did they keep you waiting? Like, what was happening? He was like, yeah, I was waiting too. I don't know what happened. And he was acting all confused, just like me. And whatever, we had our date. It was fine. Then I come back out to the lounge, and Johnny tells me that they kept me waiting because she was on a date with Chris. They gave
Oh,
her another chance.
wow.
And you know what? It's not that I was mad or anything. It's just that, why would you lie about something so stupid?
Right.
Like, he could have just said, I was talking to Johnny, right?
Right,
Like,
exactly.
that's what was happening. Like, I wasn't mad at Johnny. I was like nothing, but that made me know, or like, you have to look at all these things. You're trying to marry these people, right? If a person is lying about the stupidest thing, that person's probably a liar.
Right.
So I was actually kind of like mad. I'm not going to lie. I was a little mad. And that's exactly what, I don't know if you've seen the little scene that they show that I'm talking to Johnny. That's what we
Yes.
were talking about. And that's when I said, I think Chris is not for me. He's for you. So I went in to my next date and I broke up with him. And I said, like, we're not meant to be together. So I'm just going to go for the other person who's 100% sure about me. Because I don't know how you feel, and I don't know how this is going, and like where this is going to go. So I went for Jared, but Chris was very sad, actually. He was also crying, just like he cried when Johnny broke up with him. So he's very emotional. That's fine, but they don't show all those things, right? Like, everybody was like, oh, he's such a good guy. Oh my God, they broke his heart. Well, I was crying too, because of course, if somebody cries, I'm going to cry.
Right, exactly.
So, and yeah, I did have a connection with him. So I was very, very sad too, because it's like, how are you supposed to decide, right? And there was one little mistake that he did, and that's why I was like, that's it.
Yeah.
At the
Wow.
end, I guess my intuition was right. Um,
Right,
but
right.
yeah, I went for Jared. I went for him. It was the right decision. He's an amazing guy. He is awesome. We had a great connection. Sadly, there was no spark when we saw each other, like, and I'm not gonna lie, like, it was pretty devastating. You have all these high hopes for love and for marriage, and then you meet this person in real life, in person, and the spark is not there, even though the connection and the emotional connection was there. Sadly, there was nothing else but that. So it was like a friendship. So the engagement was over right when we saw each other, like right after we saw each other.
Wow. I'm so sorry. Wow. Well, I guess in the end, sometimes things happen for a reason. It sounds like, you're getting back out there. You're, trying to, find your person. And so, yeah, like I think you're so strong, especially for having to go through that, especially on such a public, platform like Love is Blind, because that's not easy, just putting your feelings out and, for millions around the world to see. So, yeah. And then just, so I definitely commend you for like, how you were able to like handle all of that. Cause I know like that could not have been easy at all. How would you compare dating in the pods and not seeing the other person versus, dating outside of the Love is Blind experiment?
It's very, very different. Number one, because you can't see their facial expressions, so you don't know if they're lying to you or if they're sad or if they're mad or whatever, like all these things. Also, I feel like it's so much easier to people to lie, like behind a wall, or pretend to be someone that they're not or something like that. So I know I wasn't doing that. Sometimes there were a few times where I actually did get a little like, I guess, I don't know. I was trying to be funny at one point, and one of the guys had told me how tall he was, and I didn't want to know. And he literally was like, "Well, I am 5'8" or something like that." And in my head, I was like, "Oh no, 5'8." Like, I know I should not be judging people because that's what I came here for. But if you already told me 5'8", I'm picturing something, right? Or like, I don't know, but he's told me five something, something behind, like under 6 feet tall. So I was like, 5'8". And I was like, well, I need to tell you something. And he was like, what? And I said, I am actually 6 feet tall. So I'm taller than you. Of course, I am not 6 feet tall.
I was about to believe that. I was like, oh wow, okay, because I'm 6'5", so I'm like, all right.
So I was like, I told him that, and he believed me. And he apparently told everybody out there that I was 6 feet tall. And then when I met him in person, he was like, you are not 6 feet tall. And I was like, well, I'm sorry. I never told you the truth, because then after that, I never talked to him again. Oh, I felt bad. But he was a funny guy, but we were not for each other.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, like, well, one thing that I really picked up on is like the fact that he said, like, he, just came out and just said he was 5'8". I'm like, no man has ever admitted to that. It's usually, oh, I'm 6 feet or whatever. I'm 5'11" or whatever.
5'11". Yeah, he messed up.
Right, exactly. like I'm convinced that like in a dating world, if someone puts that they're 5'11" or 6 feet on dating apps as far as men, is like, no, that guy's either 5'9" or whatever or below. Like there is no 5'11" man that walks the earth. It just doesn't happen.
That's true.
Yeah, so it was amazing kind of seeing the contestants really bonding with each other, like the men, the women, and just like the camaraderie that was kind of going on based off of what the producers edited and allowed us to see. So I want to know, like, which contestant did you bond with the most, and like what brought you two closer together to kind of form that bond or sisterhood?
So, as I said earlier, like, it was so easy to connect with the girls. Like, since we got there, we were just having fun and like doing all these things together and like spending all this time with them. It was like we connected. There was no other thing to do, right? But of course, one of the people that I connected with the most was Lydia, because both of us are Latinas, right? So we have that in common. Um, it was so easy to speak Spanish with each other, which I'm very surprised they did not like ever put any of our conversations there because we were talking a lot. And maybe they didn't understand, and they didn't want to translate, right? But
Right.
we talked a lot in Spanish, and I feel like during the pods, she was probably one of the ones that I was the closest to. Then I was, I'm still friends with everybody, and I was kind of like always talking to everybody. Um, Another person that I connected with a lot, and mostly actually after the pods too, was Renee. Me and her went on a trip together right after like Love is Blind, like the summer after, so like 2 months after. And after that, we've been to 8 countries together. So we have been on multiple trips and we've connected a lot more and we became very close because um, having a travel partner or somebody that you travel with is not very easy to find, right? Like somebody that you can actually spend a lot of time with and like go on trips with and all of that. So me and her became close, very close after the show. So those
Wow.
are probably the people that I became the closest to.
Wow. Okay. Love that. Go all the way off. Go all the way the fuck off. Love that. And so which guy out of all the men in the pods, like which guy would you say was like that you connected with, I guess in the pods at the beginning that was kind of like your number one? Like was it one of the men that you got engaged to, or was it someone else?
Um, Actually, the book. Let me tell
The
you everything.
book. If you all are listening, there is a book, and Estefania, she has the book in her hand, like the famous book that all the contestants have when they write their notes down. So, and it has her name on it.
Of course. Um, so it was different every day, but the first day, it was very hard to actually like know the first day who you had, like who you were gonna put on the top and who you're gonna put on the bottom, right? Because we had a 10-minute date with each person, and you kind of had to know what questions to ask, right? Like, of course, I was all prepared, and I'm like, the question that I'm gonna ask is about traveling because it's very important to me. So I asked if they like to travel, where was their last trip, and like easy things like that. And I had to cut down some people, of course, and that was going to be my way. Maybe not the best way, right? Like some people could be like, "Oh my God, what if he was your match and he doesn't travel?" I don't know. I don't think so. Um,
Right.
some people got caught up. Like Izzy, for example, he he didn't even have a passport before going on Love Is Blind,
Oh
and I
yeah.
wrote in here. It said no passport and an X. Um, because that's just how it is. But he did like to dance, so it was kind of hard for that one actually. But like my people on the very top that first day was actually Chris, Connor, and Jared. So my top three were those three people.
All right. In that order. All right.
Yeah,
All
that
right.
day. But then the next day, like every day it was changing. The next day it was Jared, Chris, and Connor. So same people, but in different orders. But yeah, so um, they were my top for a while. It I still had connections with Milton, for example. He was one of the ones that I talked to for a while
He's so
too.
sweet.
He is very nice, but Milton is too young for me. He was too young, and I couldn't get past that. Like that was something that like I couldn't get it out of my head, and
Yeah.
yeah, it wasn't gonna work.
Yeah. How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm 31 now. I
Okay.
just turned 31 last week. But when I was on the show, I was 29.
Wow. You don't even look a day over like 21. Like you look so young.
Thank you.
I need to Can you please share with me the fountain of youth so that I can use that on myself to look, 21 forever. Cuz I'm 31 and I'll be 32 in March, but like
Oh, we're the same age.
yeah. But
Cool.
so the other day, someone was like, so I do theater on the side. To make a very long story short, I do musical theater outside of like my regular day job. I was coming out of a show. I was doing Beauty and the Beast. I played Lumiere, the candlestick.
Oh, yeah.
Someone came up to me and was like, "Wow, like I liked your performance and everything. Like, how old are you? Are you about like in your mid 40s?" I was like, "Excuse you."
Oh, no.
But do I look 40?
No, the thing is, you probably just look very mature. So that's
Yeah.
good.
It's probably the beard. I'm gonna have to just shave the beard. It's gone.
No, beards are good.
Yeah, but no, I think that was probably like age as far as Milton's age. I think that was kind of the one of the things that came up, for him and Lydia because of like the age difference. But they somehow, like yeah, somehow made it work for like for each other, and it's just so cool that someone as young as Milton, I just seen him grow like in the show and just I don't know, just mature so fast. I'm like, damn, okay. So
He's so
yeah,
mature too. And Milton is just a very mature person, and it sounded like that when you were talking to him on the pods, like everything he's done in his life, like it shows how mature he is. And that was great, right? Like compared even to other people on the show that were older than him, he was all like very, very mature for his age. Um, but at the end, there's one thing like you can connect with him, and I was connecting with him, but it wasn't anything like love or anything like that. So it wasn't
yeah,
that type of connection. Um,
absolutely. Is the like as far as like age range, like what's the youngest like that you would consider going on like on a date with?
I always say this, but I've only dated one person who was younger than me, and he was only 1 year younger than me.
Ah,
And that was the worst relationship I've ever been in my life.
oh
So,
no. So you're like, I'm done with
so
anybody who's not 31 or 30. Like,
I
no.
don't want to do that ever again. So I say that a year younger is maybe two would be my limit, but I've never been in that situation where I meet someone that I think I want to date and who's younger, a lot younger than me. I could probably be more open to it if it happened, right? Like I try to be open to things. Um, it's hard sometimes.
No, I feel you. It happens to us all for sure. And then, as far as like whenever you all get into the pods and everything like that, my biggest question, and like my listeners, I know that they're all asking, how the fuck do you all get in and out of the pods without seeing each other? Is it like just two different sections of the like, what's going on? Because I'm like, come on.
Of course. Are you crazy? The pods are literally back to back. So
Yeah.
if you see how the cameras when they put them on the top, like
Yeah.
the guys are on one side and the girls are on the other side. So the wall is in between, but you have the doors over here and the doors on the other side. So never we can hear the guys through the walls and stuff too, like shouting and stuff, but you can never ever ever see them. And that's why there's like restroom breaks and all these things, so that you would never have the opportunity to be on your own, like roaming around and trying to see the guys, because that would ruin everything, right? So They do it on purpose, but it
Yeah.
works.
Okay, so it's foolproof to make sure, like, yeah, like no one's over here trying to like sneak a peek. Like, oh wait, that's what that person looks like. For sure. So is there a reason that I guess the producers choose not to, follow some of the storylines or some of the engagements? Like your engagement, kind of like what you just told us, like that, like yeah, like I would have loved to have just seen like that story, like on screen, like so yeah. So what's your thoughts on that?
So they never really say exactly why, but watching the previous seasons, we know that they usually focus on 4 or 5 couples at the most, and they try to pick, I guess, the stories that have the most drama and the most like something to them, right? Or if they're connected to each other in a way. Um, my story was not connected to anybody's story, but Chris's and Johnny's. But they were the ones that were picked. That was already, they were connected to another story, so it wasn't gonna be like, yeah. So they
Yeah,
weren't a main story either. So I think what they probably decided on, because they decide this pretty early, and you can kind of tell. I think the main story was probably Milton and Lydia, and right, like connected to that was Uche, Aaliyah, um, Johnny and Chris, because they had the connection to Izzy and Stacy. So I think it's mostly because of that. Um, to be honest, I feel like they don't know exactly. They don't know. They don't know because who's gonna know, right? Like how it's gonna end. But I guess they have to try to make good guesses, and they decided to go for those couples, which in my opinion was a good idea, because if they would have focused on my story, I feel like people would have been kind of sad, just like I was, right? Like
yeah,
it was going to be a disappointment. Like the pods were very, very beautiful and amazing. Like me and Jared had a beautiful story. Um, yeah, when he proposed to me, he wrote me a poem. It was very beautiful, and it was, we had many, many moments of laughter and crying and like all these things. He danced actually when
okay,
on the
baila,
video.
okay.
It was like very, very cute, and many. It was a great story. Um, our connection was very beautiful, but then they would have also seen that it was only that, right? Like it didn't get past that, and there was no spark and nothing else after it. So I feel like they could tell probably too, the difference of how we were in the pods and how we were falling in love, and how when we saw each other there was almost, that was gone, instead of getting better and bigger, it was just kind of like disappeared. So I think they could kind of tell too. And as I said, like it would have been very stressful and sad if people would have loved our, because people, I guess they have all these expectations, like if it was a movie, like a romantic movie, and everything has to be perfect. And no, it's reality. Um, like I was sad. I was sad that it wasn't what I thought it was going to be, right? But they wouldn't, I don't think people would have seen that. I feel like they would have hated me at a point if it didn't work, because they were probably going to be like, well, is it because of this, is it because of that, or are you not trying enough, or you know how people like get all mad and
Right,
stuff.
right.
um but Jared and I, we're friends now. We talked, and we decided to be friends because our connection was real, and everything that we talked about in the pods was true, and we still wanted to do some things that we promised each other there. So He's been to my dance lessons.
Okay.
We've done some like we go to dinner and we do things together too because it was a real connection. Like it was a beautiful connection. Sadly, it was not love, but it was a friendship. So I'm
Yeah.
happy I met him too.
Amazing. Is he seeing somebody else now, or is he just kind of?
Not that I know of. He is single, if I am not mistaken. But yeah.
Okay. But that's so cool that you all like that you both were able to kind of maintain that friendship though. Because I know with the way that everything kind of goes on in the pod, sometimes yeah, like when two people kind of just decide to, hey, maybe we shouldn't date anymore. You never know how, I guess, how it's going to unfold. And so I'm glad that in your case, it did, become a situation where it's like, okay, yeah, we're still cool. We can be friends. We can still go out on and then like hang out every once in a while, catch up. So I love that. I love that you all are able to still make a friendship out of that. So how did the other women, react when they found out that Uche and Lydia, they dated each other before the pods? Because kind of like the way that it was, the way the show was edited, we were able to kind of see how it affected, the people that they connected with, but it didn't necessarily show how it affected some of the guys or some of the other women in the pods. And I know there was that. The argument that happened, after the pods, when everyone got together. But can you kind of elaborate on a little bit, give us a little peek behind the curtain?
So the truth is that when we were in the pods, everybody was so invested in their own connections and relationships. And it makes sense, right? Because we are there to find our husbands. So we're not worried about what anybody else is going through unless they have a connection directly to you. So Lydia, the first day that she found out that Uche was there, something was wrong, right? Like she was very stressed out and she looked like she had been crying and stuff. But she said something else because she couldn't talk about it yet. But for some reason, this is gonna make me sound crazy, but I knew. And she didn't say anything, but when we were on our own without the microphones on, she was like, I need to talk to you. And I said, no, you don't need to talk to me. I know exactly what happened. I know your prediction of somebody that you knew was here. I think it's real, right? And she was like, how do you know? And I was like, I don't know. I just know. So I was the only one that knew, but I couldn't say anything either. So she told me, please don't say anything. Because they asked me to wait and I'm going to do that. And I was like, yeah, don't worry about it. I am not going to say anything. So of course, when all the Aaliyah thing was happening and when I'm in the hallway with Aaliyah actually, and she tells me about Uche and all of those things. And then we go back into the lounge and everybody's there and Lydia's there. I already knew, right? Like at that point, I knew that that Lydia was Uche's ex and all of that, right? But Aaliyah didn't know. So I was pretty sad right there. You could probably see me in the background crying.
Yeah.
So when she told us all that she had dated Uche, to be honest, like there was not much. Well, we were surprised. It was like, oh wow, okay, that's crazy. Like then we asked like how did they decide to keep them and stuff and all of those questions, but it wasn't like it didn't change anything. The time during the pods when we were all together, there was not much drama between us. There was almost nothing. We were all friends. Even when we came back to Houston, we were all friends. We actually all got together. Even when they were in Mexico and we came back, we all got together. And then when they came back, we all got together again. And there was like no drama, no like little drama in between, like, us and like people who were like engaged or whatever, our own drama, but nothing major that was making us not be friends, right? Which is crazy to me to think, because now there's lots of drama, right? Now that the show came out, there's all this drama that I hate. But when we were there and when we actually just came back, like we were all friends. We went to brunch together. We wanted to keep doing things together, and then drama started developing. So now it's a little messy, but
Yeah.
I hope we can get back to being friends, to be honest, because this is something that not a lot of people go through together, and it would be good to have that connection with each other again.
Absolutely. And are you still friends with Lydia? You two are still close?
Yeah, I'm still friends with Lydia. I see her every once in a while. She's busy being married, but we still hang out.
Good. So now that you're out of the pods, what would you say you're looking for, in a partner?
Even when I was in the pods, right? Like I've always said that I know what I'm looking for, and of course, it's the longest list ever, but it's not even that list. I kind of know when I meet a person if I can try to be in a relationship with them, or if I can try to build something with them, right? And again, I say it's that spark, it's that chemistry, it's that connection that you'll get kind of like right away. Doesn't have to be the first day, but there's this feeling of I want to see them again. I want to see who this person is, like this like intrigue of who are they? I want to know more. So if we go through my list, some of the things that I'm looking for is somebody who has passions, somebody who has like something that they like to do that they're invested in, just like me, right? Like I'm not looking for a dancer, so no, not that. But like somebody who likes to do something, anything. It could be like running, it could be I don't know, riding bikes, whatever, reading, like somebody who has that could connect me to them, just because I don't want somebody to just be waiting for me that like all the time.
Yeah.
And then me just trying to be like with them, and then I'm not going to be able to do my thing. So I actually wrote this down because I wanted to remember. Oh, somebody caring. I also want somebody who is just a caring person, somebody who cares for me, somebody independent. So I know it sounds crazy, but like so many people are not very independent, and like they just want you to do everything with them. And I don't want anybody like that.
Right. It's important to have your own space, your own hobbies, like your own group of friends for sure. Yeah.
Exactly. Somebody mature emotionally too, because many men are very mature in other ways, but many times they're not very mature emotionally, or like relationship wise. Like they don't know what they're doing, and they keep acting like if they were 15. And no, I don't want a guy who acts like he's 15.
Exactly. Yeah. Like emotional awareness, emotional intelligence, like, putting mental health, like, yeah, it's so important. No, I like that you said that. What would you say, I guess, are like really strong, like qualities, to like build that strong foundation, like a loving relationship, like trust, honesty. But yeah, like what are some of those foundational things that you say that you would think is healthy to kind of build that strong relationship?
Of course, you said it, like trust is my number one. And that comes from me, like being able to trust that person, and also that person being able to trust me. I have been in relationships before where I didn't trust the person for whatever reason. I wasn't mature enough. They weren't giving me any reason not to trust them, but I was just not trusting. I was 19. But then after that, I was in a relationship where the guy wouldn't trust me. for no, like, I'm not a
Wow.
cheater. I've never cheated. I've never done anything like that. But he was just not trusting anything I was doing. So I think it comes both ways. Like to be able to let that person be themselves and do everything they want to do and trusting that they're going to come back to you because that's your person. I never want to keep somebody tied or something like that just because I'm afraid. I would never like to do that. And that's not who I am. I would never beg anybody or like make them stay if they don't want to stay, right? They want to do other things. So trust is very important. Another one is like being yourself. For me, another thing is also doing what I love, like somebody who lets me do what I love and I want to let them do what they love too. I've had boyfriends who get jealous of me going dancing, and that's something that I'm not willing to give up for a relationship because it's dancing. I am not cheating or doing anything inappropriate. So I think one of the biggest things as I said, trust. And for me, it would be to keep doing what I love and to keep being who I am. Because when I am in a relationship, I get very, very into it. And when I actually love a person, sometimes I forget about myself and I only think about them and how to make them happy and like all those things that I've forgotten about what I need also and myself and making myself happy, right? Because love is not everything. Also, like those people fell in love with me and who I was. And if I lose that, then they're not going to have anything to hold on to. So it's something that I try to remind myself when I'm in love. Um, just, I know that other people probably don't need that, but like they're doing out their thing too much and probably forgetting about the other person. But me, no, I am that person who wants to like, I'm in a relationship and I want to be with my person all the time. And I want to do everything with them. And I like make a million plans with them. And then sometimes I forget to hang out with my friends or like to go dancing and travel more and like travel with friends or travel by myself again. Just like all those things that I usually do on my own.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And it's so important to love yourself. Go easy on yourself, because we all go through so much in love, as it is. But yeah, it sounds like you have done so much work on yourself over the years, and and yeah, like it seems like you have found the key to happiness in like in your life. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yes, thank you. Yes, I am very happy on my own, to be honest. And I think that's the key to finding someone because you're not waiting for somebody to rescue you or waiting for that person to come fill a void or something that you're missing, right? Like, feel like I have everything that I need to be happy. And having another person would be awesome if they could add more happiness to my life. And that's always what I say. If anybody who's coming into my life is adding something, then my life is going to be good and I want to be with them. But if they're adding stress or worries or drama or anything like that, then I don't want them. I am happy on my own.
Exactly. Yeah. Like we are all responsible for our own happiness, and yeah, the people that we choose to, have in our life, yeah, they're just additions to that happiness. Like, yeah, could not have said that better. Yes. So would you ever go on another reality show, or are you like, nah, I'm done. Love is like after Love is Blind. No.
When right when I came back from Love is Blind, I would have said no because I was very heartbroken. I was very sad that the experiment didn't work for me. Because I really put it all in there, right? Like you go with the expectation of leaving that show married. Um, so my expectations were very high and it was really, really sad to not have like gotten close to that, or like I did get close, but it didn't become a reality. So it was kind of sad, and I was, I guess, sad for a little bit, and like I wouldn't have done it then. But seeing it from another perspective now, I feel like it made me grow as a person. It made me connect to beautiful girls and amazing guys out there too. They were not for me. Um, but I feel like I learned some things about myself and about relationships. Many of the questions that they suggest that we ask are very good questions too. So I use them now on my dating life, right? So I would say I would go on another dating show if I had the opportunity, um, or maybe any reality show. Well, it depends, right? Um, depending on what it is, but I would be open to it.
All right. So do you believe love is truly blind?
Ah. I got asked this question a lot, and I said yes almost every time. I do believe it is blind for many people. Love is not blind for me. I think it can be blind, and it depends on how you love, and we are all different, right? And we're all looking for something different. I've learned that from friends, and I've learned that from other people too, that we don't love the same way. And when I create a connection with someone, it also has to be with who they are on the outside. And I'm not just talking about like, oh, are you ugly or cute or not, or those things. Not that, but it also is about attraction, and you have to be attracted to that person. It doesn't mean that they're going to be like the best looking person in the world, right? Or like the hottest guy ever. Sometimes you're attracted to people that are not your type, and you're like, oh, I like that guy. I don't know why, but I just feel attracted to him. So I feel like it's very important, and it's an important part for me. I had to go on a reality TV show to actually find that out. How like actual like physical appearance is kind of important too, and it attracts your eye first, and then love can come your way, right? But so yeah, love is not blind for me, sadly. But it is blind for other people.
I like how you worded that though. Like I really do, because like it's not a one size fits all. It just depends on the persons and the individuals that are going through that step or that moment in life. So no, I definitely can relate to that. Today is a great day to start your own podcast. Whether you're looking for a new marketing channel, have a message you want to share with the world, or you just think it would be fun to have your own talk show, podcasting is an easy, inexpensive, and fun way to expand your reach online. Buzzsprout is hands down the easiest and best way to launch, promote, and track your podcast. Your show can be online and listed in all the major podcast directories like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and more within minutes of finishing your recording. Hey, can I let you in a little secret? So I use Buzzsprout to host Situaseans podcast, and let me tell you, it has been the easiest tool I've ever come across for publishing and running a podcast. Podcasting isn't hard when you have the right partners, and the team at Buzzsprout is passionate about helping you succeed. So come on, join over 100,000 podcasters already using Buzzsprout to get their message out to the world. Follow the link in the show notes, and that'll let Buzzsprout know that we sent you. And guess what? That gets you $20 credit if you sign up for a paid plan, and overall, that helps support our show. Let's create something great together. we have a listener submission, you all. And yeah, this listener submission is really, really amazing. Again, if you all have a question or a story or anything that you want to submit, situationspodcast.com/submit. And if you have an ick, if you're out on a date and some guy is just like, like, I don't know, kind of just looking at you funny or just, I don't know, just saying something just unhinged, then yeah, you can submit it to situationspodcast.com/ick. And yes, we will unpack that on the show. So let's go ahead and dive right on into that listener submission. All right, so this listener submission says, guy I had one phone conversation with so far called me sounding drunk and or highly and basically tried to just initiate phone sex. So I guess he was drunk and high. We had not even met in person. That was our last conversation. Oh my goodness. That is a huge red flag. That's a deal breaker. Like, who does that? Like, has someone ever just called you just drunk and high and like, hey, Estefania, what's going on? Like, what you doing right now? Like, has that ever?
Oh, no. If anybody ever even called me and I haven't even met them in person, I would already be weirded out.
Exactly.
I know some people do I have a friend who does phone screenings before she meets up with the guy, from the dating apps. So she likes to do that. She's like, I want to have a phone call with him before I go on an actual date because I want to hear and it helps her. But I am not good at phone calls. I'm very awkward. If I can't see the person, it's kind of awkward for me. Again, apparently I'm a visual person. But yeah, so I don't know what I would do if that happened to me. I would be probably hang up on them or something, but that is crazy.
Right? It's didn't even make it to the date and this guy's already just acting unhinged. And I know sometimes people they'll exchange numbers before they get on the date, and it's just the fact that the listener obviously gave this guy their number. They trusted this guy with the confidence, say, hey, obviously this guy will, he has my number. Hopefully he will, just follow up when the date's about to happen. Hey, are we still on? Not be like, hey, what's up? Yeah, it's just so unhinged. How about you in your dating situation, even before and even after Love is Blind? If you're matching with somebody, you're talking with somebody on the apps, do you give them your number or do you take their number down? Or do you just be like, no, I'm gonna wait till I get on a date and then if the date goes good, I'll give them my number?
Yeah, sometimes they ask for the number because they're like, oh, I barely get on here, so can I have your number? And I feel like it's fine, right? You can block somebody's number if they're being weird. But I prefer not to. I prefer if we just talk on the app and then see where it goes. I do prefer meeting them also kind of quick instead of talking so much or texting so much, because again, then you're wasting your time. You can have great conversations over text with the person, but then in person it might be different. So I usually don't like the giving the phone number and all of that. I don't know, it's not my thing. I wish we could leave reviews.
Right.
This person would have had a really bad review. You could see other people's reviews and, oh, this guy's nice. Because there's many cool guys out there that are just not for you, right? So I've had great dates with people and they're awesome. And some people that are great on paper, cute and intelligent and hard workers and all these things. And I'm I just don't feel anything though. And I am not gonna waste your time or my time if there's no that connection or chemistry or that I'm looking for. But yeah, maybe the solution would be some reviews.
Yes. I think the closest thing to like reviews that I've heard about, especially from some of like my female friends. So there's like was it Are We Dating the Same Guy like Facebook group in like every city? So I guess that's the closest thing to like a review, but it'd be nice if the dating apps
Yeah,
did have it. But
I've heard of that and I've never actually looked it up. Huh. That would be nice to
yeah.
see who's in there.
Right. Well, I can imagine, like, especially on like the dating apps now that like you're in Love Is Blind and like you're an influencer, like you're such a public figure, you can't like you can't even give out your number anymore these days. It's like, nah, like I'll see you on the date.
It's funny because some people like, right, the show comes out a long time after, and many people thought like, oh my God, you're getting married, or are you're probably gonna meet someone. And I was like, dude, that happened so long ago. Like that's why I'm on the dating apps now. They're like, oh,
Right.
you're on that show. When is it? Are you filming right now? Like, no.
Yeah, I'm filming right now and I'm also messaging you on this dating app. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is happening in real time.
Yeah, they don't even know how it works.
Right. Well, thank you for like to the listener for submitting that submission. That is hilarious. I'm so sorry that happened to you. That is unhinged. I think Estefania, I think you and me both agree that this is unhinged. This is red flag deal breaker.
Yeah, never go on a date with that person. Please. It's
Exactly.
probably crazy.
Exactly. To the listeners, there's a new series on like that's going on our social media called Hinge or Unhinged. People submit screenshots of the dating app prompts on Hinge, Bumble, Coffee Meets Bagel, all that shit. If you have any screenshots that you have of an unhinged prompt that somebody put on a profile, hey,
I have one. I'll send it to you.
yes, please do. Yes.
I was like, why would anybody do this?
Right, exactly. People just sometimes people don't think before they post. They just this sounds good.
Oh my God. Yeah, there's many of those. I actually started taking screenshots of every single person that talked about how much they like this restaurant here called El Tiempo.
Yeah, okay. I've never heard of it, but like, okay, yeah.
Okay, so I don't know why, but apparently everybody wants to talk about that place here in Houston. And on my dating profile, I said, we're not good together, or we're not meant for each other if you like to eat at El Tiempo.
All right, yeah, yeah.
That's something
Yeah, it's just
like those people are not my type.
right.
So many people get mad actually now that I said that. They send me messages saying like, oh, why did you say that? Have you ever even tried it? Blah, 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 like all these things. And I'm like, dude, why are you fighting me? Like, just click X and keep going.
Right. Yeah. People spend too much time and energy on the wrong thing. It's like if you don't agree, just move on. But yes, if y'all have any screenshots from the dating apps, yeah, just submit it to situationspodcast.com/submit, and we will, of course, censor names and faces. We don't want to out anybody. We're just, we want to see those unhinged prompts because you know what. We're we're hoping that people will stop posting unhinged shit. This one says, the award I should be nominated for, you can always count on me to be late. Hinged or unhinged? Hinged as in green flag, beige flag, unhinged as in red flag, deal breaker.
Why would you say that?
Right.
I'm always late too, but I don't put it on my dating profile.
Right.
Like I'm not proud of it.
Same. Like I'm late too sometimes. in the Black community, we call it CP time, color people time. Like, but yeah, no, I sometimes, yeah, it happens. We all run late, but don't put it on your profile, people. Let's not do that. So yeah, unhinged, right? You think it's unhinged? Oh, same. All right, one more. This one says green flags I look for: hips like Shakira, like
Oh,
hips like Shakira, like is green flags that this person looks for.
that guy might be disappointed a lot.
Right, exactly, because it's just like it's like first off, it's like, why would you put this out here? I don't know what type of response you might get. Someone that like that that'll like that prompt. Someone's gonna say, "Nah, get the fuck out of here." So, yeah, he's opening himself up to not a good start.
Yeah, it's a physical thing. Like you can't be saying that. It's like if I said green flags I look for over 6'3".
Right.
Like that would be stupid.
Right. Wait a minute. I just made the cut because I'm 6'5". All right, cool.
Yes.
Estefania, thank you so much for coming on to the show. I'm so glad that you were able to do this with me. Like this legit means the absolute world. Like I really want to say thank you. Is there for the listeners and everyone listening, like can you tell us where can we find you? Like how can people follow you? All this, share your socials, anything that you want people to connect with you on. Go ahead and let us know.
Well, again, thank you for having me. I had a great time. If anybody wants to find me and like see what I'm doing, my Instagram is Estef, Estef, Baila, as in dance. So Estef, Baila, Estef Baila.
Awesome. And if you're watching on YouTube, you just saw that pop up on the screen, so you can follow her on social media, follow her on Instagram, and yeah, get connected, see what she's up to. And yeah, like if you it's so cool that that again that you're out in Texas and Houston, like the beautiful cityscape behind you just it just makes me like want to like fly out to Houston and just like party out there. So like I've only been to Houston once.
Don't party to Houston. I'll be here waiting.
Right, exactly. Right, you're gonna have to show me all the cool spots in Houston. You're gonna have to tell me about
like 2 cool spots, but I'll show you.
All right, sounds good. And then
the bars where everybody goes to.
Yes, that too. Also, that one restaurant that you just said that
No.
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 You got to show me it because you hate it. I have to know what
There's so many of those. It's just a Mexican restaurant that white people like to go to.
Oh, okay, like a Taco Bell. Okay.
Yeah, that tells you everything about it. A real Mexican food.
No, that's amazing. But yeah, for sure. The next time I'm in Houston, I'll be like, hey, Estefania, I'm here. Show me the spots.
Good.
Awesome. Yes. And for all of you listening, thank you so much for tuning in. If you want to submit your story, your question, your ick, whatever, there's 3 ways you can submit. The first way, you can go to situationspodcast.com/submit. The second way, you can send an email, situationspod@gmail.com. The third way, you can call the hotline, 312-586-2664. And yeah, submit a voicemail submission. And, and it's not my personal number, y'all. Like, that's the hotline. Like, but yes, submit your voicemail submissions. All right. And Estefania, like, she encourages you all to submit. So submit, right?
Yes, I'm going to be submitting some.
Yes.
I have enough of those. You'll see.
Awesome. You are the best. If you all are in a plane, a train, a bus, whatever, you can take Situations podcast with you wherever you go. Thank you so much for following us. You can find us on social media. And yeah, with that, everyone, I will see you all back here for the next episode in a couple of weeks. Woo!